Hi, hello. This is my first time recording a presentation, so we'll see how it goes. So this is my artist talk, and I'm gonna start by speaking about the body because it is central to both my practice and my research, and in particular my body. That's my starting point. And for me, the body is a site of experimentation, but also is both my medium and my subject matter. It is important to me because it's the thing through which we understand and come into contact with the world around us. It holds memories, experience, and emotions. And it is also pre-verbal. It communicates way before language does. My way of using the body as a medium is through movement. It is very instinctual. It started with the confinement of my room, a way to process strong emotion. And it was less about performance and it was more about twisting, stretching, and testing the limits, but also finding what felt comfortable in my body. A lot of this understanding of looking at my body as a archive of my past became from this reading I made years ago, and it's still hugely influential in my work because it was quite a twist within me. The Body Keep the Score is when I first did therapy years ago, and I was in denial about many experiences of my past, and I could not trust my experiences or myself. There were a huge disconnection between my mind and my body, and my body was reacting certain ways in the present that my mind could not comprehend, and will blame the body, and it was just this huge clash. And through the privilege of therapy and also education and doing art as my degree, I was able to take the time to understand what my body was carrying and to process. And I was realized that it was holding truth that I could not yet verbalize, and it became my way of being able to trust myself and to reclaim my own experiences. Photography became a way to capture this movement so I could later return them to revisit them and understand what they were revealing. The work is very process based and often made for myself first. Using my body in my work is partially about reclaiming control over my own narrative instead of allowing experience to remain hidden or shaped only for external interpretation. I use movement and image making to observe myself on my own terms. This also connects to language. As a child, I experienced selective mutism. I struggled to communicate verbally, and this meant my language was behind compared to others, and therefore I had to often rely on gesture, and mostly I was silence. And then when I did start to communicate, I would invent words as I was quite, as I said, behind, and therefore had my family will make fun of me and say I did not speak Italian, but I spoke Matilde, which is the title of this work. So this is a digital typeface, the body font, like created through a photograph of my body. The posters loosely resemble letters, but the language resists readability. The work is less about clear communication, it's more about how the body can hold meaning when the words fail. And collage became the next stage of my process because I wanted to physically work with photograph I was producing. Through cutting, rearranging, and rebuilding, I returned to the body not as something fixed, but as something unstable and open to reconfiguration. This reflects how I understand traumatic experience. Memory does not remain a whole, it fragments and returning parts. Reconstructing is therefore not about becoming whole again, but about learning how to exist for contradiction, change, and ongoing reconfiguration. However, as I said, it's quite process based and is mostly for myself to understand myself. So when I put it out there in exhibition setting or in project space, I started to question what effect we could actually have on other people, and it just started to feel quite static then on their own. So I started to look at collaborative project and workshop as they felt more immediate and meaningful to me. Working with others made art feel less isolated, more responsive, and honestly just more fun, more alive. And I did not really believe in the idea of truly solo practice. Even when artists work alone, their work is still shaped through conversation, influence, and change with others. And therefore, what interests me is not simply producing object, but creating situations where connection and conversation and reflections can happen. My experience in childcare, sensory therapy, and community focused setting pushed this further. They changed my understanding of what art can do. I saw how communication can happen through touch, play, movement, and shared making, especially in ways that do not rely on verbal language. This also made me question gallery setting more critically. I feel in gallery there can be sometimes distance between the artist and the audience. So I became more interested in spaces where art could function through participation and shared experience. And this led to towards socially engaged practice and facilitation. So workshop became both methodology and direction which my work um, is coming into shape. Through gallery opportunity and support, I learned how to facilitate by actually doing it, teaching participants while simultaneously learning from them. And this was through the opportunity of a fruit market. And I just really liked that mutual ecosystem of learning, the gallery giving me the space, me giving space to be a participant, and it just felt very sustainable way of being in terms of of learning. And actually, it's very funny. The other day, because this workshops came along as I kind of want to give away what I learned through art, and I as my art is about mostly about myself art therapy I'm kind of doing within my art. I was like, what I kind of wanted to expand that and see if people also relate to it. And therefore, throughout my years of therapy, I kept so many journals and I will write and I will draw and I will do all the messy things in it. And the other day I was looking through it to do this presentation and I found this drawing, which I digitalized. And I think it binds my work quite well together because the blue bit is my soul, is me myself, and the orange is my body, the corporal, and I'm trying to bind together my brain, my heart, and my body together. And therefore, there's this direct correlation between book binding and kind of my own experience of disconnection and trying to bind myself together. And so, what I really enjoyed about giving workshop was I could see the effect on the people and I could see them. I made some designs and they all brought them away with them. And it was something I wanted them to continue throughout and to pass on into something that lives without me. Um, so, yeah. So binding becomes about slowness, touch, and attention, encourage people to be present with the body while creating something, a space that's theirs to communicate. For my final exhibition for the grad show, I want the work to continue through participation rather than an end fixed installation. And through my conversation with you, Katie, I understood the room as a type of body, as something constantly shifting, and the shift can happen. Or so it's about the room is a body that shifts, but also it's the body within the room that can move, and I kind of want people to become more aware of the body within the room and how the room can be used. And visitor will be invited for events. Versus some events, I'm hoping they're gonna change and add more to it. It's gonna be quite instinctual during the actual opening, and I'm creating tools for communities. And also, I only have 30 seconds. Also, my interest in the idea that the work can continue beyond the gallery for circulation, exchange, and collective authorship. So I started to look into publication and different things, um, different way of publishing, and I'm looking back at my journals. And I remember this psychotherapist gave me this great diagram on one relation with himself and one relation to the others. And I just found it now and I still have it somewhere here. And so my idea was to create a booklet that people can come and bind it together, and this become a tool for them to add to it. And I'm also hoping that during exhibition, I'm gonna be able to create a workshop where people will communicate what maybe they do when feeling certain emotions, and then create a collective binding with poetry about the body, with photography about the body. Right now, I only have two people contribution, and I did want to print it. However, I was struggling with technical difficulties, and printing a booklet was harder than I thought. But I have images of it, and I just kind of wanted to combine everything and kind of also for myself to make sense of it. And so I combined photos of myself. I combined writing from the posters I made. I combined poetry from friends about their body, and then this diagram that this psychoanalyst gave me, um, and I kind of combined the two, and I really did enjoy that process of a collective book that can be passed on and binded by people and add to it. However, this is very much work in progress, and that's my artist talk. I don't think I've covered everything, but yeah, that's it.